WIIFTBP.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
All right, well, Angela Oyafumike. As you know, this is I Do, I Did, I Don't on the What's in It for the Black People media. Start our way into this journey of divorce and healing.
So we came together under a survival mentality, not under a friendship of being in love. First being friends and then being in love or growing in love. We came together under, we're trying to survive, we're two kids trying to survive. Okay, we're going to survive together because if you're handling this end of the survival and I'm handling this end,
years that you've accepted this is what it's been, and now you've made this decision, and he wasn't there. He wasn't even seeing that you were done.
Here's what it was. Just like I ignored on the front end that he didn't love me like that, he was so disconnected from me by the point when I decided to leave that he didn't see the writing on the wall.
Wow.
Just didn't see it. But he didn't know that woman because he never took the time to meet her.
Mm-hmm. And so you created your plan, and that's key, I think, in having a plan. If you are going to, whether you're deciding together that this isn't going to work any longer and we're splitting, and having a plan on how you're going to move forward is pretty key. You knew at this point I had to create your own plan, and you were moving forward with that. In my case, I didn't have a plan. Things happened pretty abruptly, and I was creating the plan on the fly along the way. I don't recommend that. You forgive yourself. You forgive you. Do the work of forgiving yourself that you may be able to actually forgive others.
You proved me wrong. This ain't a regular love, babe. It's that waking out your sleep with me massaging your feet, yeah. It's that anything you want, I'm only here to please you, yeah. You're in my command, yeah. Your kiss sends me a shot of dopamine. Oh no, I never had an interest in us until I met you. And I don't know if it's real or is it just a phase I'll go through, but I feel that it's true. We don't need no labels, babe. What we got is something different. We don't need no labels, babe. Lady, we don't need no labels.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to I Do, I Did, I Don't on What's in It for the Black People media. This is Tasha Napper here, having a great day. Great day. Thank you for joining. I am excited to talk to you all today. As you know, this show is about helping folks to thrive through a divorce, and also to unpack some of the things that may have happened in order to get to that point of thriving. So folks have lots and lots of things to work through when they're having a divorce and post-divorce. And one of those things, really interestingly, is about infidelity. So we're going to talk about it today. So I want you to make sure that you like, share, and follow. Make sure you're liking What's in It for the Black People media so that you get the notifications when shows like this and others are on air. on Facebook Live. And make sure that you're like, share, and follow my page, which is I Do, I Did, I Don't. You can also go back and see several of the other shows and the things that we've talked about on I Do, I Did, I Don't. In this world of divorce and making it through to the other side. So, one of the things that I've heard a lot is about infidelity in marriages that cause divorce. And it seems to happen a lot. It happens a lot. And it leaves people kind of wondering why. Why would the other person do this? Why would they throw away what we had? Why would they risk the family? Why would they do this to me? What's really the issue? What's behind this? And many times what I see are people find themselves questioning their attractiveness, questioning their performance in the marriage, and whether they met the other person's physical needs, sexual needs enough. Maybe they felt like they weren't pretty enough, or they weren't handsome enough, or their body had changed with children or with age or whatever it is. There's a lot of questions and a lot of things for people to work through if their marriage results in divorce because of infidelity. And so I wanted to talk about this. It is one of those tough topics, but we know it happens a lot. So good morning, Des. Good morning, Cassandra. Happy to see y'all with me. All right, so let's talk about this. Infidelity. So remember when we were talking to an attorney? If you've been listening to the shows, you remember this attorney saying all marriages end because of infidelity. And that really shocked me. I was like, whoa, does that really happen? In his experience, he had only had, I think, 2 divorce cases that were not because of infidelity. And so, that makes me think, dang, this happens a whole lot. And the more and more I talk to people and friends and, others just about this topic of divorce, I'm hearing it an awful lot. So it feels like it happens a ton, and we're left trying to wonder and pick up the pieces. It happens with men. It happens with women. Does not discriminate. So I think whether it happens more often or not with one or the other, we can debate, but it happens. And the other person's like, what the hell, So I wanted to talk about this and the fact that it feels like infidelity might be on the rise. I wonder if that's true. When I look at some statistics in marriage, it says, yeah, it's on the rise. I wonder if that's just because people are reporting and people are actually, just openly talking about it a little bit more. But it really is, it's damaging. It throws you, it makes you question who you are. And people are left wondering why. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Why? Why does it happen? Why does infidelity happen in relationships? Why do people feel the need to go outside of the relationship to which they've committed and have sex with another partner, have an emotional relationship with another partner? In some cases that might result in children with another partner. What the heck is happening here? And how much of that is on you? It's important to think about it and to reflect to understand what you may have done or not done in the marriage that could have contributed to it. But ultimately, the ownership lies with the person making the decision also. So I just want to talk through this a little bit. So, as I'm doing some research, I'm understanding a few things. And people say that men and women cheat for different reasons. I'm not so sure that's true. So why would people generally cheat? Why would men cheat on their wives? Well, some of the research I have says, they're just a general course of marriage. Things change, people change. It's not exciting anymore. When you met the person and you had the butterflies and in your stomach and you were on the phone all night, getting a little bit of sleep, falling asleep with each other on the phone, enjoying discovering each other sexually and everything else. It's different. You know, you've gotten into a groove of things that has become routine. And sometimes folks want a little bit of excitement. And so they look for that excitement outside of the marriage if they're not getting it there. You know, there's something to be said about whether you can create that within your marriage and why not do it that way as opposed to looking for it outside. But I don't know. But the intensity of the relationship really just differs. It's not as intense anymore. It's not as exciting. You know, lots of folks really are looking for something that's going to change the circumstance, change the status quo for them. And that means someone else, or at least in their mind, that's how they equate it. So when we come to talk about men and why men might cheat, these are some of the things that I've heard. Marital changes, you know, physical attractiveness of the spouse changes. We hear a lot about communication and communication breakdowns. And those communication breakdowns then have some bearing on how the relationship is progressing and how healthy that relationship is. Complacency. We kind of talked about that a little bit, but you think about you're busy with careers, you're busy with children, you're busy with life, whatever other activities you might have. And so do we just become complacent sometimes in the relationships? I think that's true. I think we all know that's true. The same thing happens with us at work. The same thing happens with us in friendships. We become a little bit complacent with what we have, and we are interested in something else or we're interested in intimacy. That's what it really comes down to. We're looking for this intimate connection with someone that we're not feeling anymore. And so we look for that somewhere else. And there could be lots of reasons for that. It could be the complacency. It could be the communication, whatever. It could be issues in your sex life. So what I hear a lot is that men cheat generally because of sex. They want to have sexual fulfillment elsewhere because they're not getting it, or they're bored, or they're, you know, it just isn't as exciting anymore. So they look for that elsewhere. And then what I hear about women is women cheat because they're looking for an emotional connection. And I wonder, is that true? I think men are looking for emotional connection sometimes too. I don't know that women are exclusively cheating because they want an emotional connection and not something that's sexual. So I do think that women cheat sometimes because they're looking for sex as well. But I think what gets to me is stepping back and going, okay, if things aren't working and you're looking for something else, are people having the conversation with their spouses? Are they having the conversation to say, hey, I'm feeling like I want to step out because XYZ? Or are they asking the question, you know, can we talk about this and should we have an open relationship? Because this is what I'm feeling. And it feels like oftentimes that's not happening. Or, you know, okay, this is where I'm at right now. I just feel like I need something else, you know. Can we give each other one time? Whatever that is. I just feel like those conversations don't really happen. And so what people do is decide, then I need to step out. And when you do that, then that really, really damages the trust in the relationship that leads oftentimes to divorce. Some people are able to repair that trust and some people are not. But not having a conversation, not being upfront and being very mature about it leads to a breakdown in trust in the relationship. And that is so, so difficult to repair. So often it's irreparable. And you wind up in divorce court and you have to deal with that whole situation of navigating that system, figuring out now how you're going to split assets, how you're going to split time with the children, how you're going to pay attorneys, just all of it. Right? When some of that really could be avoided, because I think sometimes if folks ask and really explain what they want, maybe their spouse might be willing to say, okay, I get it. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that too. Let's do it this way. Maybe not. Only you know your spouse, but it's the whole deception and the hiding and the sneaking around. But I think that's why some people do it, because it's exciting. It becomes exciting. There's this theory from this one gentleman who wrote a book called The Erotic Mind by Jack Morin. And he says attraction plus obstacles equals excitement. And so it's now that attraction in that, I got to figure out how to do this now. It becomes a game. It becomes fun. It becomes exciting because it's forbidden. And there's I've got to find a way to get around to do this. And so, it's real interesting to me that there's this seductive nature of just doing what's wrong, right? We know that that's how we are as people, right? As soon as you tell a kid don't do something, that's the very thing they're going to do. As soon as you tell them this is forbidden, they really want it. They may not have ever thought about it before, and now they really want to get at it, right? So I don't know, Reese, what do you think? I'm looking through this information. I'm trying to understand what's really happening here. Is this true when we talk about, not that I'm saying that you've ever done anything. I'm sure you're an angel.
I mean, I'm not an angel, I wish I was, but at the same token, I believe, like you said, maybe it should have been a conversation, but who would be like, hey, babe, I'm not feeling it. I would, want to step out real quick. But you never know. That's why I say, what about a hall pass? It should be communication between them. But I think men achieve for a connection, because if it's just sex, 9 out of 10, if it's just sex, then you can just have sex with a woman and don't feel nothing about it. Usually when you catch them, it's because it's a text thread. They doing other stuff. If it's just sex, then I can just have I can go to the sex costs $40. I can pay somebody $40 and never have any relationship or any history with them, but. Men talk afterwards, and I think it's maybe that connection, or maybe it's that bond, and instead of you talking to your significant other about it, you end up talking to somebody else, and it just become all messy. So
yeah, so you're saying it's not really just about sex. For sometimes some people it is, and they may be just serial cheaters, and they're out there just trying to get their fix, right? But what I hear you saying is, it's emotional too. It's just maybe different from the way it might be for women in some ways, right? But
sure.
It's something that there's something that the other person is giving you emotionally, whether it's affirmation that you're great, whether it's they see they find you attractive and they're expressing that in a way that your spouse isn't or hasn't, because you've been there for 7 years, and they like, okay, I thought I told you that already.
I mean, yeah, like it could be them. It could be a plethora of like reasons, but it's definitely something. It's something that person is giving me that I'm not getting, or that I'm lacking, or that used to be there and that's not there. Like maybe she got time for me, but she don't have time for me. So. And it could be anything. I don't think it's just sex. I don't think, like she said, we just see ass and titties and be like, oh my God, I want, like we do have restraints, but it could just be something. And usually when you find a man with somebody else, they build a connection of bonds. So it's really, you should be trying to figure out, if it's a man or a woman cheating, like what bond did you get at what point in our relationship could somebody come in and establish another bond that we should have created? If you stand with me doing all this, then we should, so tell me that bond, tell me what I'm doing wrong, give me the chance, the opportunity. I'd rather you tell me I'm doing wrong and maybe we can't fix it, than for us you to know that we can't fix it, but you doing you. If that's the case, then just tell me and allow me to choose. Exactly.
I think that is a huge part of it, is don't take away my choice because you decide that you want to keep both things going. Let me decide if I'm okay with that. Let's talk about it, because I might be okay with it. I might not, or I might have to wrestle with what's happening in this relationship, and then what do I really think and feel too, because I haven't been in touch with that. But to just take my choice away, and hide it, and you go and do whatever you want to do. You do you. That's hard to repair afterwards. So I what you're saying makes a lot of sense to me, because I don't think that it's always just about sex. It could start there in some cases, the person is attractive, but then I do think oftentimes it becomes more of a relationship. And this is going to be a controversial statement, but I do think that humans have the capacity to love more than one person. And I'm saying that because we don't always think about that. We think about monogamy in terms of marriage, but we don't think about all the other relationships and love relationships that we have with other people around us. So our family, our kids, our friends. So it stands to reason to me that people really could have the capacity to love more than one person, even though they're in a committed relationship or not.
And that's why polygamy relationships are on the rise. On the rise. I mean, that could be another thing. You can find you somebody that, doesn't mind adding a person, every now and then. Find what works for you.
Man, that's so. Yeah, I guess you do. When you talk about polygamy, we got quite a few more swingers out here, and maybe they're just open about it now. I wonder if a lot of this is new and changing, or if it's always been there and we're just talking about it now.
It's always been there, and now it's it's acceptable. Like if you look at things that was accepted, like 20 years ago from like now, like even homosexuality. Like when I grew up, it was kind of like, like you didn't really speak on it. You didn't see like a lot of, like homosexuality like how it is now. Now it's out there. Just like polygamous relationships, like everybody doing that. You can go on Facebook. There's millions of groups on there.
Wow.
Thousands of people looking for a triad, a family, and everything. And like I said, it just give people options. And I don't think that everybody just cheat just for sex. I just like saying that women cheat for money. Like why would you cheat if you got that? And that's what I told him. I said, listen, if you're gonna cheat on me, I hope he rich. Okay, that's what. don't cheat on somebody broke. Like what I'm saying, like me. I go for the rich guy. Pay some bills, put the kids through college. I will understand, babe. I will understand.
Right, there's a practical reason, right?
Yeah.
But okay, so let's go with that, because I wonder sometimes if people cheat because they feel less than, because of their self-esteem, or they feel like they're being left behind by the other spouse. So this other person is moving forward in their life and they're doing great things, and they feel kind of, it's a little less than if that's happening. And so now I got to go find somebody that feels like they're at a lower level from me, so that I feel good about who I am.
Yeah, like I actually had a friend, and he knew, I guess their relationship was bad, and he kind of knew that his girl was like stepping out, and he used to like come to me like, oh man, I don't know what to do. And I was like, just cheat, like just go do it, what I'm saying? Like it's nothing, like you either gonna leave her or like do you. And he was feeling, like low self-esteem, and then he had to go and like him doing him actually build his self-esteem up. And they still together today. You see that? That communication, they stepped out and came right on back. Sometimes you need that break, that space. Like people feel like you have to be around that person, and that could be a reason too. Just tired of seeing you every day. Unfortunately, I know we could be married, but maybe we need spaces. Like maybe you need to say, babe, that's man. You go on a trip. I take a trip, and that could be a reason too, because I see her for a little bit of time, and then I leave her. She is so perfect for me.
Yep, that's true. A lot of cheating happens on business trips or trips and things like that, because it's one time, and it's kind of, it's one and done, and there's no tie in the relationship. And then the question is, do you, in marriage now, are you going to talk about that it happened, admit it? What do you have to figure out what works for you in your relationship? I'm a proponent of being honest and sharing the information, and not taking away the other person's choice or anything. So we do need individual space. I think a lot of times we really think that our spouse is supposed to be the end all be all in our relationships. And once we marry them, they're supposed to meet all of our needs. That's never been the case. But somehow we have this idealized fairy tale ending picture of the spouse, the knight in shining armor, the queen that we just found, or the princess we just found. It's real interesting. And having gone through divorce now, it makes me think very differently about what really are human needs and how do we talk about that in a very open and honest way so that we can get forward and really forge a relationship that's going to work for us long term, because we're being real honest about it. So you're listening to I Do, I Did, I Don't on What's in It for the Black People Media. We are talking about cheating and that results in divorce and just what happens. We're trying to unpack this because many times it happens and people are trying to understand why and they're looking for answers. So we're going to talk about it a little bit more on the other side of the break. We'll be right back. I Do, I Did, I Don't.
WIIFTBP.
Introducing your trusted source for high-quality Black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe Black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of Black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
Welcome to Inhale, Exhale, you guys. We are your health homegirls, Dr. Tanksley and Danny Time. We are being joined today by a guest, Samantha Allen, who's going to work with us today about attachment styles.
The overview of attachment styles is basically how we connect with people, how we have relationships. And I just want to clear up, it's not just about romantic relationships with your family, with your friends, how you host relationships, period. It's important to look at yourself and figure out, what am I contributing to the relationship, or why am I attracting this style of a relationship? So all the attachment styles develop from your caregiving style. They say that from 0 to 5, you have already developed your attachment style. If you had a secure attachment style, your parents were very in tune with your moods, in tune with your behavior. They kind of soothe you when you cry. For secure, you grow up to be more communicative. You have good communication style. You feel positive about yourself and about others. You just have a healthier, you're able to set healthy boundaries, so on and so forth. And that just comes from the love, attention, and caregiving that you were given as a child, which usually develops a secure attachment style.
So on that note, with healing these things and changing your attachment style, we're reprogramming ourselves. Right. It's like our inner child that is showing up in these anxious, attachments, and we are wanting our way. We're reprogramming.
Yeah. Ooh. I miss your kiss. Oh, your kiss is one of a kind. It feels so nice. Girl, you do it right. I miss. Ooh. Oh, girl, you don't go too fast. You take your time. Just how I miss. Hey. Oh, you kiss it, then I'm drifting off your love. Keeps me floating, girl. I miss.
Hey, welcome back to I Do, I Did, I Don't on What's in It for the Black People Media. This is Tasha Napper here, and we are talking today about cheating. Cheating, huge topic, huge reason that marriages end in divorce court, and a huge reason that folks are trying to figure out what happened as they repair their relationship. And we've been talking about, or not their relationship, if they're in divorce court, how they repair themselves and build back up after having such a such betrayal is what it feels like to most folks. It feels like this huge betrayal of trust, betrayal of the family, betrayal of what they have worked on building, betrayal of the commitment. And so how do you rebuild yourself from that? Because it really hits people hard. And as we talked about it before the break, we were talking about the reasons why we think that this happens. Oftentimes people are asking that question, why, and they're spending a lot of time afterwards trying to look back, debrief, and really take some learnings from the relationship in order to move forward and to do so in a way that is going to help them thrive in life. And so we generally, when we think about people cheating, we tend to think that there's either some problem in the relationship, there's a problem with something else that's with the other person, right? They're not as attractive, or, whatever, right? But we don't always do kind of the double click on what's happening internally with the person who chose to cheat. So it's very easy to say, okay, well, things have changed. This is stale. This is boring. The mom, the wife now is mom mostly. And so, I'm not getting my needs served as husband. For the wife, it could be he's always working. Work is the thing that seems to be getting his attention most of the time. So I'm going to go step out and get attention somewhere else. Whatever that is, we sort of assign the reason to something that's going on with the other person or with the relationship itself. But we don't talk about the personal responsibility that we have to take in what happened with me. Why did I make a decision to cheat? Why did, what's going on? What's going on with me? Yes, this may be happening with the other person, but did I have the right conversations? And do I really understand internally what's going on? And so this is one of the reasons I'm a huge proponent of therapy, because we really need to understand what's going on with ourselves. Many times, not to pathologize all of this, but if we stop and we look at the other person, sometimes there's unresolved trauma or some kind of dysfunction within the individual that made the decision to cheat. Sometimes it's just emotional immaturity. And I think that's a huge issue with us. This emotional immaturity, this unwillingness sometimes to do the work to get to the other side of emotional maturity so that we can have a good relationship with the other person. It's beyond surface level, because we understand ourselves, we understand our drivers and the motivation for what's happening with us. So some of those things will push another person to infidelity. And it could be, I'm not saying that things don't happen in your relationship that can be precursors in the sense that they're aggravators of the situation, right? But either way, it's problematic. We know it. And many times what people don't do is play this out to the end. So they play it out far enough to figure out, how do I not get caught, as opposed to having the very hard conversation that they need to have, right? So they'll play it out to, well, if she catches me or he catches me, then, it may be difficult. I'm going to have to apologize. But they're not thinking about, 3 years down the line when this person is triggered and now you have to go and apologize all over again. If they have decided to continue in the relationship, they're not thinking about how much work that's going to be for the momentary pleasure that they get from this cheating relationship. They're not thinking about how a divorce is going to impact their children for years to come, and how it might impact how their children see them, or marriage, or even the opposite sex, and how they then interact because of what they have learned from watching what's happening. They don't play it out to, I'm going to lose, all this money because now I have to go and pay attorneys to get divorced because this person doesn't trust me, and we can't even sit down and have a conversation about how we're going to manage through divorce because the trust has been so damaged and so lost. They don't play it through to, I'm someone that is respected in the community, and now this is going to cause question about my standing in people's minds because I've done something that is unethical, that's something that has damaged my relationship, my family, and now what does that mean in terms of my prospects? So we play it far enough only to, here's what I need to do to not get caught. Not when I get caught, this is all the things that happen. Because we're finding reasons that we need to go, we want to go ahead and do it. So we're finding our reasons. But let's go back to what's happening with you internally. Are you someone that really has some issues like attachment deficit disorder, let's say, where you really find that you need to have another person no matter what? So now this relationship isn't working for you. Instead of you dealing with that relationship respectfully with the other person involved or the other people involved, if there are children involved, and then making the decision you need to make, having the hard discussions and moving forward. No, you're the type of person that's thinking, I'm going to go find another person to attach to first because I need to have this safety net of a relationship. I cannot move forward. I can't not be with someone, right? Or is there some other unresolved trauma issues? We don't know because we don't take the time to work through it. We don't take the time to read about it and try to discover ourselves. We don't take the time to go to therapy, to talk with the person, to try to understand what's happening with us. We don't take the time to understand if this is just, infidelity is a symptom sometimes of a flawed personality, but it also could be, like we were talking earlier, just this desire for sex. Not always, but it can be. But we don't do the work that we need to do. And so many times I think that's what leads to, I'm just going to take the easy out. I'm going to have a quick relationship with somebody, and then then everything is blown up. So what's your take, Reese?
So what do you do if you're not getting it like at home at all? Like
you're not getting sex at all at home?
At all, yeah.
Man, that's a tough one. It's a tough one.
And you had a discussion about it already.
So I would say it's again that discussion around why, what's happening, because sometimes women, if it's a male who's not getting it, because I think most times it's usually the dudes that have more issue with this, right? I think sometimes women don't necessarily understand what's happening with them and their bodies either, and they're trying to understand too what's happening. Hormones change. There are hormonal changes that happen. They may have just be completely worn out with life and all the responsibilities that they can't even get to the place of being attracted. They want to, but they're just tired. It could be birth control. It could be depression. That's a low-grade depression or high-grade depression that's suppressing their sex drive. But I don't think all times we know what's really happening with us. And when the other person is not vested in helping you figure it out, it's just, man, I need it. And if you can't give it to me, then I'm going to have to go step out and go get it somewhere else. That doesn't feel like partnership in relationship. You know what I mean? But that happens a lot too. It does.
So we got to work through it. So we get, work through it until you ready for like 6 months, 8 months, a year.
I mean, you think about that, right? But you said for better or worse and committed to this relationship, right?
I said for better and worse, not worse. That's worse. That's worse. You got an able body. Worse. Yeah, you got an able body. Like, you don't know if you depressed, and I'm trying to uplift you. That's what's wrong. That's why you depressed, because it's been a year. That's what
You're saying now you depressed too.
You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you what's going on. That's why your body ain't feeling right. That's why your hormones ain't right, because it's been a year. It's been 6 months. So
yeah.
I was just wondering, like, at what point, stepping out is never, like, okay, but if you had a discussion on it, and, like you said, you married and you all this, like, how do y'all come up to, a conclusion, like, all right, like, you right, babe, it has been 6 months. You're like, all right, like, I've been cool. You're like, all right, But like, it's been 6 months, you know, like, you still going through that same thing? You
Right,
know?
right. And it that could be true. But I think, like you said, let's talk about this. Let's talk about, I have a need, and now this is driving me to feel like I need to step out so that I can have that need fulfilled. I don't want to have to do that, but this is, we keep working on this and we're not getting there. So now this is where I am. What are we going to do about it? Because I don't think that I can manage through this much longer. And then I think the other person has the ability now to say, okay, what can I adjust so that I may not get all the way there and they may not get all the sex that they want to need, but can they get it sometimes? Probably if they care. Now, I'm not talking about real clear medical conditions or things like that are really going to just, it's unreasonable to expect the person to have sex at this point because they have clear medical concerns. I'm not talking about those situations, but it is, I think that the sex is a big reason if you're stepping out just for sex. But again, because there's this long dry period is what you're saying. But again, let's step back and think about, I have needs, but I also care about this other person and I want to make sure that they're well. And something's not well because this isn't normal, right? It's not normal. You're in a relationship with someone and it's 6 months and you haven't had sex. You're just, that's not normal. Something's happening. Something's going on. We need to get the help to figure out what it is. And that might take a little bit of time, but it might take some agreements too around, all right, well, here's what we're going to do. But let's have the discussion and make the agreement instead of, I'm just going to go out and do me.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, there's some tough situations in marriage. There really are. And it's not always easy, and it's not always the same decision is the right decision for everybody. I think I'm thinking about Will and Jada and their whole discussion about her entanglements but their commitment that this is the family and the enterprise and we are not breaking this up. And so they've made decisions that a lot of people look at and think, I don't know if I would have did that, or that just feels weird.
A lot of guys can't take that hurt. Like, I ask a lot of guys, but then they do the same thing. So I'm like, how come guys can't take that same hurt? If you out here doing your thing and you know that, like, you got to be able to eat that same, that same pain, man. Yes. You got to eat that same pain.
Exactly. And so then I think a lot of women then, or the other spouse, I'm not just going to say women. I think a lot of people, if they have been cheated on and they didn't know or agree, if you agree to it, then it's not cheating, in my opinion. But now it's like, okay, well, I'm going to get revenge. I'm going to. I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to hurt them as much as they hurt me. Or I'm going to... I'm going to get mine. I'm not just going to let, I've been wanting to step out too. So this is my chance to go do it since, he got one, I get one. She got one, I get one. And so I do think there's a lot of revenge cheating that happens too, because it makes the other person feel better. You were talking about that earlier, and the friend that you have and how he stepped out after knowing that his girl was cheating, and they were able to come back to each other and work through the issues that they had in a relationship. And they're still together today. That's commendable. That is commendable, because that means that they really did the work. They did some work to figure out, what do we need to do in order to be well as a couple and not just well individually. So, yeah, I do think that, there are some times that people. So here's another thing that I think. I wonder if cheating happens around a certain age for people who've been in a committed relationship for a long time, because sometimes it seems like people just have their midlife crises.
Nah, for sure. I think so. I dated the person that I was with. We started as like teenagers, but like growing throughout my years, it was like 17, I think, growing through like at the age of like 21, 22, I guess I call it in the process. I wouldn't give it an excuse, but I guess it's a process of finding myself. Like you so young at 17, it's puppy look, so
yeah.
And we had to come together after that. But I definitely think, because now I'm in my 30s, and like cheating too stressful. It's too stressful for me to realize if I got my phone on lock, if I leave my house, if I don't have my phone, I gotta bust a U-turn on the E-way. It's not even gonna go on the right way trying to get my. So I just think it's less stressful. As you get older, you be like, you know what? I don't even want the trouble no more.
Exactly.
You know so
I want peace.
that.
That's what Chris Rock said. I want peace.
Sometimes, unfortunately, it do take us to, to do all this to be like, you know what? I guess I'll take, this one this time. I guess I'll slow down this time. So I think it is an age, like, because I be seeing my little younger cousins and I just be laughing. I be like, like they always tell me, keep living. You just move a little different. The older you get, you just don't want to hear all that loud noise. Even with like, man, I don't want to hear none of that. Like I just want something nice, and just calm and all that wild stuff. In my 20s, I'm done.
Yeah. Like living changes you, age changes you, that's for sure. But I do feel like there's this sense of self-exploration, especially for people who may not have done all of that earlier before they got into a committed relationship and in a marriage. They're kind of wondering, what did I miss? What I missed out, and now I want to
see if you still got it.
Yeah, I want to see if I still got it. I want to go out here and wild out a little bit.
Out with your friends, you don't know how to behave, all that. You want to do all that. But your whole time is you trying to impress me, but you really making a fool out of yourself. That's all you doing. Because if you know you got somebody at home and we at a certain age, like it's a certain. When you young and dumb, okay, but like when you know it and you know what I'm saying, and you build this family, kids, all this. At some point they got to be clicking like, all right, like I can't go outside and not be a dog or and not cheat, but
right.
Like I said, but
I do think a lot of
friends boost them up. Like you go out with that one friend, they want to go out. It's that one single friend or something like that, or not even a single friend.
Exactly. I was gonna say it's that one married friend that is always cheating,
always doing something. You're always out with them and that. So that's why I'm like, nah, man. If you know it, don't do it. Don't do it.
Right. You're putting yourself in that company. Birds of a feather flock together. So if you're putting yourself in that company, then that's what's coming into your mind, into your spiritual gates, your mind, your eyes, your hearing. You are seeing and dabbling in this forbidden area. And so now you're thinking, okay, maybe I could do this too. Maybe I could do it too. I remember one time hearing someone say, well, I just cheated one time. These dudes out here doing all this and I'm just like, but how do you reason that's okay? Because other dudes are out here doing all this and somehow they work through their situation, that's okay for you and your spouse.
I guess it's like the double standards. So how like men can sleep with 1,000 women and it'll be okay, but if a woman's like sleep with like 1,000 men, so I guess she taking it as like man out here doing them. If he doing him, then I can do me. And that's like you said, and that sound like a millennium. Hey, I'm gonna just be real with you. Like if somebody say that, that's like I said, that's their mindset. It hasn't grown yet to the fact we be like, you know what, that's too much. It's too stressful.
Yeah, I think people sometimes in this whole midlife crisis thing, if that's what's happening early on, I understand. Earlier on, don't get in a committed relationship if you know what you want to do is figure out, you want to wild out. Go ahead and do that. If that's what you want to do and that's what you're comfortable with, then do that. But once you get into a relationship and you're committing to someone, I just feel like you do yourself and them a disservice to not just be upfront and honest. And if that's not where you are, you get in a relationship, you realize that's not where you are, have the conversation. Have the conversation and say that. But the bigger piece for me is there's people that feel like there's this bit of self-exploration that's going on later in life, right? I feel like I missed out. I'm in my 40s. I'm in my 50s. I never had that wild and out period. I never had my whole phase, and I want to go do that now because I'm getting older. I'm realizing that I don't look the same. I don't move the same. I don't feel the same. All of that, right? So I do think that it's this exploration sometimes of these things that haven't happened and these experiences that you haven't had, or these long repressed parts of yourself, this urge to have this affirmation from lots of women that I'm attractive. Or to have the affirmation from lots of men that I'm attractive, or that I'm worth this, that, or the other. It's real interesting to me. And people don't usually change who they are, but they just want to kind of escape those constraints for a little while. And they want to keep the other person on hold while they do that and come back without having the real conversation. And therein lies the problem, right? Is if that's what you want to do, then you have to take the risk that comes along with doing that. But you have to be honest if you're going to be in a relationship, and just, be upfront. You didn't get your wilding out phase. You want to do it now, but we're married and we got 4 kids, and for real, for real, that's what you want to go do. Okay. So let's talk about and decide if I'm cool with that. All right, I'm going to go. You get to wild out, I get to wild out maybe. Or no.
It might work like that.
Yeah, it might. Or it's just not, no, we're not doing this. We are in our 40s, in our 50s. Like, for real, you need to just have a moment, grow up, and probably go sit on the couch somewhere and figure out what's going on with you. Because what you want is to escape the reality of your life. You want to live something that's not really your life. And there probably is a better way to do that. I don't know, but it gets real interesting to me. And it's pretty seductive, right? When you want to move away and try to do this thing that's going to be exciting and all of that. But when you come back to it, if it makes your relationship end as a result, is it worth it? Is it worth it? And I think people have to play that forward all the way through to, how is this going to impact? If you knew that, if you're a male and you're cheating, and you knew before you started that the end would look like you have disgraced yourself, you have damaged your children, you are now divorced, and you've got to split assets now, you have brought shame and disgrace to the woman with whom you cheated. If you knew all that was going to happen, and now your reputation is ruined, you've lost friends, you've lost maybe job opportunities, depending on your level. If you played all that forward and you knew that was all going to happen, would it be worth it?
The excitement, I guess, it's the thrill. It's the thrill, I guess you don't weigh all that, or you probably tell yourself, I got it, I know all that, but I'm cool. I can, I can do that. I can work it out. It's just one time, or it's just on the weekend. Ooh, so you try to you slowly lie to yourself each time, because normally right when you're done, you feel disgusted already. So so you already but you end up probably doing it again. So I do think you weigh out all of it and everything, but Friday night you're right back at it.
And so then again I go, okay, well, what's happening with you? You're right back at it. What's happening with you internally as a person that that this is damaging, but you're continuing to do it? Are you addicted? Is this a sex addiction? Is this a need that you have for affection or praise or affirmation? Do you feel like you're fake, a phony? What is it? Something is happening. If you've played this forward and that's the risk to you, but you're right back at it again.
It's the thrill. I don't know.
I get you.
I guess you always believe that you're like, okay, well, I'm only doing this for this period of time. I'm stopping everything, but like you said, it's the connection now. I admit, and now I'm routine to going over there, or now it's a routine meetup. Mm-hmm. Once it becomes a connection, then that's when it get deadly. Like I had a woman tell me, I really don't care about the girl that he, saying was out of town with. He said, but that one that he texting every day, good morning, that one that he hiding his phone for, that's who I'm really scared of.
Yeah.
He said that girl in Miami that he don't even know her name no more. Uh-huh. You know what I'm saying? Man, but that one that every morning he texts, buying a coffee and everything.
Right.
That's the one that I'm concerned about more than anything.
I dig it. I understand. So I started talking about this this topic because a lot of times I see, as most times I'm having conversation with other women about this, and I'm seeing them really stuck and broken and trying to understand, how do I move forward after this? I just feel so betrayed. I feel so damaged. I can't believe this person did this and has created this huge fissure in the family and our relationship and our trust. And now our entire lives are changing as a result because I can't trust this person anymore. And now I'm wondering, can I trust anybody ever to have another relationship? And now I'm also wondering about me, is we internalize as women. I think oftentimes we internalize a whole lot about a relationship that ended in infidelity because we're thinking that it's something that we did. And people can be pretty good about projecting stuff so as not to take responsibility. So we're left thinking, did I not do this right? Did I fix the dinner wrong? Did I neglect him too much? Did I, did I not work out enough and keep my appearance up? Or did I not contribute enough in terms of in terms of finances or whatever that is? We're oftentimes left wondering. And I think I want to free you from that because oftentimes there is something wrong. There could be something wrong happening in the marriage, granted, and you need to definitely take a look back and understand your part. But ultimately, it is the individual who makes the decision that they are going to be unfaithful in a relationship, and they have to own that. They have to own all of that, as opposed to you taking on the responsibility that they really own. So this has been I Do, I Did, I Don't on What's in It for the Black People Media. Thank you for joining today. Thanks for the conversation. I am really here to make sure that you are better on the other side of a divorce. Love you guys. Talk to you next week.
I miss your kiss. Your kiss is one of a kind. It feels so nice.